Morning of day 2. So cold. My notes got updated. Why? Because it's cold? Oh. Maybe it was discrimination from her being impoverished that led to such deep-seated animosity. Okay, it's like what we've learned before. I didn't feel better after I slept. Instead, I felt even more tired. I was hoping to find a chance to escape when she fell asleep. However, time passed and she didn't show any sign of closing her eyes. She must sleep sometime. I couldn't help but fall asleep first. The last thing I saw was her lighting another cigarette. You know what? She would be so poor if she stopped smoking. I know, controversial opinion. My body must have really been exhausted if I could fall asleep like that. I opened my eyes in a daze and saw an unfamiliar face right before me. Who the heck are you? Ah! I jumped back reflexively and tried to shield my chest with my hands. It would be better off shielding your groin, I think. Yet my tied up hands reminded me of my kidnapped status. Regardless, I was shocked by this new face. She looks a little bit like her. Just younger and less evil. I stared at the new girl before me. The first thing I noticed were her beautiful eyes. Clean, light brown, like pieces of amber. Her thick coat and dark red sweater looked pretty old. Her small body suggested she might have been in junior high, so she was clearly unfit for a place like this. What? The apartment of kidnapper? What do you mean by place like this? Oh my god, I didn't know who she was, but I easily noticed the knife in her hand. I guess she's like the shift change, right? I assume it's her little sister. And she doesn't really want anything to do with it, but she's somewhat forced to. Because you have to help your, One-san, right? She stared straight at me, but showed no signs of speaking, which somehow emitted an inexplicable pressure. Who are you? I tried to ask her, but she refused to answer and shook her head. She was on guard of my every movement with pressed lips. I think we can overpower her. There was no sign of the kidnapper around. There were only the two of us in the room. In other words, a good chance to escape. Let's not. Let's ask for help. If possible, I wouldn't even try to ask for help, because that just makes you seem pitiful. Can you untie the rope for me? Please, can you help me escape? No. Head shaking. Seeing she had no intention to help, I tried to untie it myself. Her expression vividly changed upon noticing my attempt. Are you dense, protagonist? Don't move. As expected. Only another victim, or the accomplice, would be here. If she wasn't tied up and instead held a knife, then she must be my guard. Yes, and not a victim. The quiet girl and the antisocial one. What a bizarre combo. This sort of plot in a movie would have easily triggered the haters. It appeared reality could be more ridiculous than fiction. I breathed out and couldn't help but laugh out of stress. Yeah, I get that too. Quite a lot, actually. So wait, do we have like two girls now? Yeah, the maiden and the girl. Look, they seem somewhat similar. I mean, the hairstyle, like with the bangs in the middle. And like the position of their eyes is similar, and so is their mouth, actually. It could be a severe case of same face, but the young girl looked emaciated. She was most likely no older than the average junior high school student. With her head hung down, she looked a little scared and didn't want to talk. Okay. I had no idea why they would pick her as a partner. I could defeat someone of her size even if she held a knife, assuming she was alone. Is there anyone else here? There would be no progress if I didn't strike up a conversation. I decided to speak proactively after giving it some thought. She stared at me tightly with no response, making one wonder if she understood. Yeah, I think she does, but you were asked to guard me, right? Still no response. Can you untie the rope for me? You've asked this before. I can't feel them now. And if it stays like this, you can't feel what now? Shake, shake. She shook her head, finally speaking after being silent for a while. Big sis told me not to listen to you. I could write stories like this, you know? Her voice was light and quiet, like smoke in the air. I finally heard her speak, yet it was frustrating to hear something so pointless. Who is this big sis? I know, but it's better than calling her obedient. What happens if I don't choose anything in time, actually? Maybe that would be a neutral option. Who is this big sis? Is she the one with the long hair that kidnapped me? Where is she? I need to talk to her. Do you? Are you serious? Are you sure you want her to come? After continuously asking her questions, I'd gotten not a single answer. Perhaps I was asking them too eagerly, and that made her cautious. She looked at me suspiciously, but refused to say anything. I told myself to hang in there. I had to stay calm in these situations. I took a deep breath to suppress my unease. I tried to smile to lighten up the mood. Do you have anything to eat? Don't tell me your sister doesn't allow that either. You'll have to, like, chew for me though, and then spit in my mouth so I can swallow, please. Like a baby bird. I had no strength with an empty stomach. I hadn't eaten anything since yesterday, and my stamina went out faster in this cold weather. I had to save my energy for my chance. This was a war of attrition. Either she'd let me go, or I'd give up first. Answering with actions, she put a bowl on the ground, grabbed the water bottle with difficulty and carefully poured some into it. Am I supposed to lick out of it like a dog again? Here! She handed me the bowl and then brought me a pack of crackers. Worrying I might escape, she never moved her gaze away from me. The hand grasping the knife never loosened up. Observing her actions quietly, I hoped to read her thoughts, but couldn't discern anything except stress. I drank the water with much effort, spilling quite a bit on my clothes due to my tied-up hands. My clothes were wet again after finally getting dried. The hard crackers tasted like poor flour alone, hard to swallow even with water. I knew it was not the time to be picky. I had to cherish any opportunity to replenish my strength. Noticing her conflicting gaze, I asked, "Tell her you need to go to the toilet again. She's gonna flub, she's not like a bigger sister, come on." "What's wrong?" "Big sister's not a bad person. She will let you go when she gets the money." Yes, that's the definition of not a bad person, someone that just extorts money without hurting you. Sure. Yeah, because that doesn't hurt at all. What? So please don't move. I'll stay silent on that one. I wish I could berate her. What a reassuring statement. They kidnapped someone to an abandoned house, beat him up, and then told him they were not bad people. Sure, you might as well say it was all for charity. I doubt that I would say anything nice if I opened my mouth, so I kept it shut and ignored her words. Why? You have no agenda with these people. Well, I guess they do hold your life in their hands, but still. Organizing the information I could gather, I started to plan my next steps. Would the teacher notice something was wrong if I hadn't gone to the cram school for 2 days? Unlikely, considering how often I skipped it. Unless it lasted long enough, but even in the worst case scenario, they would only contact the parents instead of the police. I started to regret not having more friends who would notice me going missing. Expecting her to let me go upon getting the ransom, would it really be that easy? Remembering that vague smile, I didn't feel very assured. The girl was squatting next to the wall and stared at me while hugging her legs. There was no curiosity in her eyes, as though nothing interested her here. She was just guarding this place at someone else's behest. Big sis, huh? So did they rent this apartment just for this purpose, or is this theirs, or that would be interesting to know. Considering their relationship, it was unlikely she planned the kidnapping. She was most likely just an accomplice following orders. Unlike some stereotypical bad girls who smoked or dyed their hair, she looked like a well-behaved but shy kid, at least if I hadn't met her in this situation. So who was planning all this? The bigger sister? Somehow I felt things weren't as simple as they seemed. There were too many points of suspicion if they were the ones planning this. Think it's your daddy? That would be a weird twist. Oh my god, it would be an even weirder twist if we planned this, somehow initiated this just to get attention from our father. Oh my god, that would be like, if this is the end to the game, I will fucking piss my pants and eat my socks, I don't know. Even carrying me here should have been problematic for them. Also, the person she was contacting concerned me as well. That would be the biggest fucking most insulting case of unreliable narrator. Him just acting as if he was actually kidnapped, when even though he was the one who planned it. Like, no, that can't be. That would be too heavy-handed, too dumb. This game wouldn't have positive reviews, and I think it had when I bought it. If this was the case, I refuse to believe in this. Okay, let's just strike this one out immediately. It's not us. We're not the mastermind. Hey. I called out to catch her attention and tried to start a conversation. Yes, I just got mad at something hypothetical, okay? Just in case you were like wondering if I'm really that much of an asshole. She was younger than the kidnapper yesterday, and with much less animosity. There might have been a chance to convince her. How did you get my information? You're a student, right? Do you know what you're doing? She stared at me with no change of expression. I wasn't sure if she heard me. This might be even more troublesome than the other one. I could at least guess my kidnapper's thoughts if there was some sort of conversation. I was only wasting my time here at this rate. Wasting my time, as if you had anything better to do. I don't know what she told you, but this is kidnapping. Huh? Look at her face. I tried to sound more threatening to make her talk. There would be punishment even if you are underage, and that would involve your family too. Do you know that? They're just using you. They might blame this all on you later. Big Sis would not do that. Here you go, you know your mastermind now. She abruptly interrupted me. How can you be so sure? Just because she was kind to you? Do you think she would still be on your side then? Finally making her talk, I tried to push forward. Has she told you her plan after getting the money? Do you really know her? What do you mean, do you really know her? If it's really her sister? Obviously she wouldn't take this shit from a stranger. Big Sis would not do such a thing. You are the one who doesn't know her. That's right! I don't want to know her! Let me go! She interrupted me loudly and stood up all of a sudden with her little body shaking. Also the music going crazy. I didn't expect such a big reaction. Perhaps her relationship with her Big Sis was closer than I thought. Of course I don't know your Big Sis. I stopped for a few seconds and stared at her coldly. All I know is that she's a kidnapper. That's all that matters. Liar, you don't know why Big Sis... She raised the knife and yelled at me with her chest heaving up and down, but swallowed the word before the key part. Why then? Big Sis is just... Facing my questioning, she lowered her gaze. Worrying she might get too agitated and really harm me, I decided to change the subject despite my desire to continue. Anyway, I don't get it, but you better give it some thought. Fucking... I hate this guy. Usually I like the protagonists in my games, but this dude is so unlikable. It's unreal. I coldly ended the conversation, leaving her staring at me hesitantly. No matter how much faith one had in others, no one would stay still after hearing those words. I wasn't sure how effective that was. I could only wait and see. It's not like that. Not able to retort, she squatted next to the wall in depression, mumbling with her head in her arms. Her head in her arms! I would argue this is the best chance to get up, kick her in the nose, and try to escape. Seeing her almost about to cry made me feel a little uncomfortable. What? But I would do anything as long as I could get out of here. Besides, they were the ones at fault here. There should be no sense of guilt involved, even if I hurt them a little. Dude! You're right about that, but the way you're going about it is like... Let's strike up a conversation with her. Let's observe first. It is a wooden wardrobe. With a typo, closet of a certain age with a nasty moldy smell. The ravages of time really messed up the door, as though one kick would totally shatter it. Quite a variety of books ranging from magazines, reference books to even cookbooks. The only thing they share in common is their poor condition. A theory of justice, the Lucifer effect, quite a few things I've never heard of. There might be some used books picked up from somewhere. You really like reading, don't you? Yes, she had been reading at the corner for a few days now. What? Is this like background information we shouldn't really get? Because we've been here for like 2 days and this is the first day we see her. She had changed to another book after finishing one. I never got bored throughout the afternoon? I would lose my patience if I have to read for more than an hour or two. I feel like there's like weird grammar in this one. I don't know if it's maybe just me. The book selection was pretty diverse, ranging from novel to magazines to travel guides. It didn't appear there was any real selective process. Where did you get all these books? You borrowed them? It was unlikely for them to buy books if they had to kidnap me for money. However, there was no library barcode on them either, and on top of the fact that they looked quite old. Yeah, it's not like people buy stuff when they have money and then they get poor. They have to be born poor and always be poor, so they can never afford anything, right? Rich kid? Big Sis gave them to me. She answered without raising her head and kept flipping through the magazine. Big Sis wants me to read more so people won't look down on me in the future. Right. That explanation was unexpected. It was unexpected? I thought she would say educated people were all liars and rich people were all demons. All the talk about how damnable the rich people are, yet she still wanted to be like them. No, that's not what she said. Her sister wants her to be smart. She doesn't want her to be rich. She doesn't want the rich people to look down on her because she's poor and dumb. This dude is fucking spoiled as hell. Like, what the fuck? So did your sis go to school? Only till middle school. I'm just waiting for him to chuckle and go, for the smudge, this stupid brat. She raised her head with a rare smile on her face. She might not look like it, but Big Sis had good grades. For real? Good grades. I tried to imagine a girl in a school uniform and I just couldn't picture her as someone with good grades, but I got a boner from that. Well, let's try to strike up a conversation with her. Yeah, let's chat. Younger. How long have you known Big Sis? I don't know, all my life? Why me? Why me? What do you mean? There are many rich people out there to kidnap. Why me in particular? Wouldn't a little kid be an easier target? I still didn't know why they picked me. If I could figure that out, maybe I could guess the culprit's identity. He's legitimately retarded, I'm sorry to say, but he's going on and on about useless stuff that won't help him at all. Will it really help him to know it was like Mr. I don't know, Mr. Clean that initiated this? He knows who has him kidnapped right now. He knows what he has to do. He knows the alternative, which is waiting for his father, which I guess is not gonna happen. Why does he still want to converse with these people, trying to find out these things, which only make sense in the grand scheme of things, considering this is a game and you want to give the player background information? As an actual person in this situation, this would not be on your mind. This is a prime example of bad writing out of convenience, or out of necessity rather, because you need to expand your writing. Instead of him organically finding these out. Why even think that there's like a culprit other than these two? It makes no fucking sense. I don't know, Big Sis just asked me to guard you. Mock her. Inquire further. So this was all planned by that Big Sis. No, it was Mr. Ken. Oh wow, how convenient, again. She tried to defend her Big Sis, but shut up immediately upon realizing she should say any more. Mr. Ken. I was awfully clean with Mr. Clean, actually. Mr. Ken. I had no recollection of that name. Did they really pick a target at random? Or was there another culprit? Another one, right? This goes all back, all up to the Pope. The Pope is the actual mastermind. And that guy was only their point of contact? That Mr. Ken you just mentioned. I don't know. I tried to trick her but failed. Hanging her head, she answered unhappily. Her voice was as cold as her gaze. You just need to mention Mr. Ken to the bigger sister and she will either get angry at her or at you. I had really high hopes for this, but so far I'm like... This is like the definition of a 5 out of 10 so far. Imprisoned life was surprisingly boring. I couldn't do anything with tied hands, and the only person I could talk to was as silent as a rock in the corner of the room. There was no phone, no TV, no internet. The usually insufficient 24 hours now felt way too long. Yet she didn't look one bit bored, flipping through a book from God knows where. She observed my movements from time to time. I ate the same crackers for breakfast and lunch. I also went to the bathroom once, hoping to find a chance to escape. She stood outside with the knife when I was in there, neither rushing me nor leaving. Having found nothing useful there, I left post-haste. Don't you eat anything more normal? Or do you just love crackers? She ate the same thing as me. They were cheap and tasteless, no matter how long you chewed, and they only served to make your mouth dry. Unless you won a year's worth of them from a lottery, there was really no reason to keep eating them. I started a conversation out of boredom. She raised her head thoughtfully. This is very cheap and lasts long. Okay. Are you worried about malnutrition? There was nothing but starch, let alone fiber or vitamins. Pretty ironic for something called nutrition biscuit. Oh. Oh. Showing no concern about balancing her diet, she didn't even raise her head, but just replied nonchalantly. Hanging out with her this whole morning, she didn't give any sort of proper response, except when it was about her Big Sis. Pretty incredible, I would say. Strangely enough, it wasn't like she cared about this big sis that much. It was more like she just didn't care about anything else. Did you figure something out with my dad? No idea. Her answer without hesitation didn't appear to be a lie. However, it did trigger my curiosity if she didn't even care about the status of the ransom. No matter who you are, you must care about something, whether it be family, work, or some dream. Yet she had none of that. There wasn't even some sort of animosity against me, only caution at most. Let's try to talk. Focus on resting. I guess I could have healed there or something. Why do you like your big sis? Hesitating a little, I decided to follow how she addressed the person in question. The big bitch. That's how we should call her. Cause big sis took good care of me. That's it? She said no more despite the pause, then I realized she had finished. She frowned as she stared at me. You were willing to do all this just because she took good care of you? That's quite a burden. You must be easy to please. What the hell, if you treated her nicely, she might even kill someone for you. Kidnapping is by no means a light crime in any country. You could easily end up with more than 10 years of jail time. I don't think so these days anymore. Like, really? Then again, I haven't heard anything about their kidnapping in a while. I finally understood why gangs like to recruit students. Around that age, anyone nice to you must be a friend, and one would do anything for a friend. What? Maybe I never had any real friends, but I wouldn't have done anything for them. Even for my friends now, I wouldn't do anything. Unable to retort, a bit of confusion flew through her eyes. Because Big Sis is nice, so I want to help her. Is that strange? She said quietly. Depends on what you're helping her with. It was a simple question, but with an implication. Maybe no one took care of her except this Big Sis. Many things you take for granted aren't the case for us at all. Remembering her words from yesterday, I realized they might have some real difficulties. Now I just feel... unmoving. I don't know. Should I feel sympathy? They kidnapped me. But crime is crime. He's right about that. No matter how pitiful their past was, they had to take responsibility for their actions. Exactly. There was no need for sympathy. I just needed to think about how to escape. You kidnapped the wrong rich boy, girls.